What if the person that I want to be isn't the person that I am? And what if the gap between the two feels impossible to bridge? That frustration has been weighing on me a lot lately, and it's time that I face it head on. You see, I've been lying to myself thinking that I have time, that I can do it tomorrow, or wait for a better time. Like right now, I have friends coming over from Scotland. And I told my wife I'd be done with this in an hour so I could help clean up. And I'm just now getting all of my thoughts organized. I self-sabotage, procrastinate, hide under the guise of perfectionism, and then time goes by and I have this feeling of regret that I didn't even start. And one of the ways that I've learned this is through a practice that I do called morning pages. It's a simple practice. As close as possible to the moment that you wake up, you write down on 3 8.5 by 11 inch papers as quickly as you can. Stream of consciousness. If you get stuck and you have thoughts, like for example, I don't know what to write, you just write, I don't know what to write. Eventually, it's just a brain dump. The whole process, the whole idea is to dump your mind of all these thoughts so you can start allowing new thoughts to get in, or at least that's how I understand it. And one of the things that you can do is you can start to ask yourself questions. What would it look like if I gave my best today? Why did I do that? Why did I react that way? Why did I get angry about this? Why didn't I do X? And sometimes you won't have an answer. Sometimes your mind will get distracted and go on to something else. But sometimes you'll start to answer it a little bit and you'll get a little bit of clarity into what it was that made you have that reaction. And over time, it's been almost 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years that I've been doing this. Patterns emerge. You start to have the same thought. And I believe because it's visceral, you're taking this time and you're writing it down and you're like physically writing it down. You start to say the same pattern emerge and you're like, dang, I think I had something like that last week and the week before that. And then sure enough, a year goes by, you open up maybe an old book because you're just curious. Oh, what was I dealing with? And you realize it's the same fear, the same problem. That practice, which has now been a little over 2 years, I feel like it's like building a relationship with yourself. And you actually start to understand yourself a little bit better. You can't necessarily hide from yourself as well. And the frustrating big thing that I'm taking away is I don't really like the direction that I'm headed. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know something needs to change. And this is me trying to make that change and document it. Because I'm currently struggling with my self-worth and all of my insecurities. In my head, I want to be working as a creative. I absolutely love making time lapses, hyperlapses, stop motions, all these fun things. And I love the aspect of travel, and I love the aspect of creativity. I even love taking photos of my cats and like making little sets, and I find it like doing like a puzzle, and I find a lot of joy and happiness out of it. And on good days, I feel like I can do this as a career. Hell, my wife and I, we even work in the what's now called travel content creators. And we've been in the travel industry since 2014. But more on that in a moment. Where I want to get back to my thought. On good days, I feel like I could do this as a job. But on bad days, I feel like I'm not good enough, not smart enough, can't figure it out. I'm too old. I got nothing interesting to say. I got nothing to offer. I just feel like people are gonna hate me. I got nothing to say, and I don't even really know what it is that I'm doing. I just like making silly little art things, and I feel stupid about it. I feel like, so what? I don't really even know what it is that I'm doing. I just like making these things, and I don't understand how to put it into a career. And I think it just boils down to just feeling really afraid of failing and the embarrassment that comes with it. But I know what happens is over time, I ended up feeling like this regret that I didn't start, or that I didn't try, or that I tried for a little bit of time, but I stopped. And I get so frustrated about all the times that I fall off the horse and then let another year go by. And as this 2025 happening, it's just kicking me like, A quarter of this century is already done. And it's happened like that. And I realized that if I continue taking these actions, I'm going to continue feeling this way. And it's just going to get worse. And so I just want to back up for a second, because how did we get to this feeling that I've been having these last 2 years? Since 2013, my girlfriend and I, now she's my wife, we were living in South Korea and we were teaching English. And we started a blog as an outlet for creativity. One, to force ourselves to learn as much about the culture, but also it was a way to just stay in touch with our family. And we're isolated. It was a great way to pass the time. It eventually turned into our full-time career, and we've been doing it ever since. And fast forward to 2019, we ended up moving to Brooklyn, New York, just months before the pandemic began. And like a lot of people, our income turned off overnight. We literally lost 95% of our income overnight. Our site survived, it bounced back, and even during the pandemic, my wife took all of the things that she learned through the previous, whatever years, and she started a website about Brooklyn. And within 2 years, that site surpassed our travel website, was getting more visitors, more impressions, and ad revenue. And fast forward to December 2023, we just had the best year of our life. December was the best month. We were growing 20% month over month. And it was amazing. Kind of felt like we might be able to retire one day. But then the impact of the Google helpful content update in September of 2023 hit. And just like the pandemic, we lost 95% of our income overnight. We went from having well over 10 million monthly impressions to less than 100,000. And that was kind of the whole year of 2024. So we had just become first-time homeowners, had the best December of our lives. And then the very next month, we were starting to be worried that we might not be able to afford our mortgage payments within a year. And I started off the year with, full of ambition, feeling like, oh, we're going to fix it. We're going to figure something out. It's going to come back. And we kept having setback after setback, and just kind of fell off of all of my habits. I stopped the morning pages. I stopped exercising. I stopped everything. And in the last 2 or 3 months of 2024, we just had a really aggressive travel schedule to help try to offset all the money that we had lost. We booked ourselves full trying to do all these jobs. And I just had a ton of bad habits towards the end of the year and up to basically right now. And that's why I'm saying I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know that something needs to change. And when I'm looking at these writings, I'm finding that in my writings, I'm way too worried about what other people think. And most importantly, I'm spending too much time in fear of being judged by others. I'm having my attention pulled by screens every direction, playing stupid games, scrolling endlessly looking for inspiration, and then calling it a day and watching TV until, every night until I go to sleep. And I just feel it bubbling up. All I know is that if this pattern continues, I'm gonna feel like I let another year slip by just like that, waiting for the perfect time, and that needs to end right fucking now. I don't want to let these bad habits continue and have this feeling again. There's no such thing as a perfect time. It needs to happen now. But my fears are stopping me. I have to figure out what it is that I want to do, what all of those steps are, and then how to deal with those fears. And right now it feels a little bit more than I can handle. And I'm embarrassed to say that because I'm 38 years old. But if I don't start now, next year I'll be 39 with the same thoughts. All right, I don't really know where to go with this.